Windham Weaponry is out to make the best AR-15s on the market. And really, for just a standard AR-15, Windham Weaponry is doing a pretty good job. I'll tell you, I have one of the MPCs. I love that rifle. It's an exceptionally accurate rifle for just a standard 16-inch M4 barrel configuration carbine, and without all the bells and whistles. This is Windham Weaponry's SCR, and that means Sight Ready Carbine. But in particular, this is one of their carbon fiber AR-15s. I'm not a huge fan of polymer, but when you add the carbon fiber to give it some strength, I think that this is a great lightweight option. So we're going to take a look at some of the pros, and we're going to take a look at some of the cons of a carbon fiber AR. And there are both. And it's like with anything, there's give and take. And it's not just the lower receiver, it's also the upper receiver, which to me is pretty phenomenal. One of the biggest pros of a carbon fiber AR is the weight. It weighs 5.85 pounds, which is about a half pound less than your standard AR-15 carbine. So you're already giving yourself about a half of a pound. Now, to be honest though, the AR-15 is known because it's a lightweight rifle. That's one of the reasons it was chosen for the U.S. military back in the 60s. But at 6.3 pounds, you go ahead and shave that down about a half pound, and it really is sweet. So the lightweight, very maneuverable, very handy, and if you're carrying it for any length of time, that half pound really makes a difference, especially once you start adding optics and you add accessories to it. That really gets a rifle into a heavy weight. In fact, probably that's what weighs a rifle down more than anything else. Now, before we start talking about the upper and lower carbon fiber receiver, I want to talk a little bit about Windham Weaponry. And they are the original Bushmaster when Bushmaster was in Windham, Maine. And they were bought out by the Freedom Group, and the company was moved. And then Windham Weaponry opened up. Most of the employees that are at Windham Weaponry are from the original Bushmaster, and they opened up the factory with the original founder and got things going again. And again, one of the things that they say is we want to make the best AR-15 on the market. But one of the big things about Windham Weaponry that I specifically love is that it's an American-owned company. All the parts are made in the USA. The majority of parts of Windham Weaponry rifles are made in-house. Now that's different than a lot of other AR-15 manufacturers. So whether you like the carbon fiber or you like the other line of rifles that Windham Weaponry has, they have an excellent line in-house, high quality control standards. Most of the companies out there building ARs are doing just that. They're building ARs and they're stamping their name on the side with parts. So here you have a rifle that from the ground up is built there in Windham, Maine, and it's by Windham Weaponry, and so you have a really excellent tight fit system. Now when it comes though to the carbon fiber rifle, all the parts are made in Windham, Maine except for the upper and lower receiver, which are made at their factory in Arizona. And because of the processes that it takes to make carbon fiber with polymer, these are made actually at their Arizona plant. So these are brought in from Arizona into the Windham, Maine plant, and then they're assembled with Windham Weaponry parts. Now at first glance, the carbon fiber rifle looks pretty much like most of your others, but when you get a closer look at the lower and the upper, you can tell immediately that there are some differences there. Definitely some areas that have been built up to accept the carbon fiber tolerances to make sure that it's strong enough. And we're going to look a little bit closer at that. We're going to break the rifle down and we're going to take a look at the upper and the lower. But you can see right up front, there's definitely some differences. And one of those that's really evident is that there is an integral trigger guard. So it's part of the receiver. Also a flared mag well, which makes it really nice to be able to insert magazines very easily. Now you can use all mil-spec parts and they'll accept all of your AR-15 accessories. The integral rail on top, and here you can see that it's been reinforced. It's more of a squared off plain design. Here you can see your takedown pin is recessed into the lower receiver. And that's an area that would be a concern for me, is your takedown pin and then also your pivot pin. Making sure that they're strong, because you're going to have stress points here and here. Now these are actually 60% polymer, 40% carbon fiber. And what that's supposed to do is to give it more rigidity than just polymer. I'm not a huge fan of just strictly polymer lowers. But I think that once you add the carbon fiber mix into it, giving it more of rigidity, I think the polymer is going to flex more if it was only polymer. But giving the rigidity of the carbon fiber and yet giving it the strength of the polymer, I think you're really putting together something that will hold up in the long run. Now we're going to take a look at the interior. So to push that takedown pin, it's very difficult because it's also recessed on the other side. So you're going to probably need, especially at first, a little punch to get it started. Very tight tolerances. And one of the things you're going to notice is that it's definitely thicker in these areas. And there are some ridge lines that run right here. So it doesn't change the interior, it's just the exterior to give it more strength. To give you a better idea, here's an Aero Precision lower that's forged, and you can see the thin lines here of the Aero Precision compared to the thickness of the carbon fiber. And there's a little bit of buildup. But really around the mag well, there's not a lot of difference. Back here near the buffer tube, there has some increased buildup here as well. But one of the advantages of the carbon fiber is the trigger action. Here typically you have metal on metal, metal pins on aluminum receivers. With the carbon fiber polymer mix, it actually gives it more of the trigger just seems to be a little bit better. It's about a 6.5 pound trigger, but it's a crisp break, very clean, and you can just tell the difference. There's just a little bit of cushion that makes it really nice. Of course, your fire control group is the same. All these are mil-spec parts made there in Windham Weaponry. You could change this out for a drop-in trigger system just as well as you could using the regular mil-spec stuff. I'm going to remove that upper. Now comparing it with a mil-spec forged upper, and this is a Aero Precision Cerakoted upper, you can tell right here that there's a lot more thickness in this area right here where your bolt carrier rides. So this, of course, the aluminum is going to have more inherent strength in all directions. There's just a little bit more thickness. Looks like, though, in this area, it's pretty much the same around the walls where the magazine fits. And the interior of the upper is not much different as well. But one of the things you're going to get out of carbon fiber is that it has an inherent lubricity. So your bolt, once it starts working through, is going to glide in that upper receiver. And there's not a lot of wear that goes on with the bolt in the receiver, so you're not really going to have a lot of tension here. But this will kind of add to the lubricity. Also, it'll dissipate heat faster. A carbon fiber polymer mix is going to just give you, it's going to keep it cool longer than it will even with aluminum. And then right here where the pivot pin rests, it comes in right here next to the pivot pin hole, but here it's squared off to give it a little more strength. One of the advantages of Windham Weaponry is that in all their rifles they put in a mil-spec M16 Bolt Carrier, and it has the full shroud here on the bottom of the rear of the bolt carrier. I mean, there are a lot of different companies that do that, but I would much rather have this than the AR15, which is cut about halfway. Another advantages of a carbon fiber polymer lower and upper is that it's the original finish. So even if these are scuffed up some, you're not going to lose that color. It has that same texture color. Like some lowers and uppers, they get chipped and shiny and scratched up. This will not show that kind of wear. The serial number is actually an embedded aluminum plate that goes right here into the carbon fiber. Now you have your 6-position stock with the Windham Weaponry collapsible stock system. Their hand guards are kind of an oval, which I really like, fits the hand very well, and they have heat shields in both the lower and upper piece. Now it typically comes with an A2 flash hider. This is a Vortex that was added later. So you're going to get your standard bird cage on the end of the rifle. And it's in the M4 configuration. And the barrels are chrome moly vanadium, 1159 SE steel. The barrel is in 1-in-9 twist, which is for lighter weight bullets. Anything under 70 grains does fine in a 1-in-9 twist. It also has the M4 feed lips. Here you get a better look at the flared mag well, which I really like that feature. Because if you're putting in 30-round magazines quickly, sometimes that can be a little bit of a chore to get them in just right. But considering it is a sight-ready carbine, you have your flat top with no rear sight, but it also, for the gas block, has a Picatinny rail on top for your sights. Now, these are pinned instead of just screwed in, and I really like the pinned-in version better because it just holds up a little better. It's a little more secure. You have a bayonet lug, and you have your sling mount. Of course, state restricted versions may not have the bayonet lug or the flash suppressor, but this is your standard, the way it comes from the factory to all those states that can accept the AR as it is. Now I want to give you a couple of things to be cautious about. And one of the things about carbon fiber is, even though it's strong, this is steel, a steel barrel, and then you have a metal buffer tube, and you have your buffer in here. And this is also going to be a weak point. If this rifle is really banged up pretty bad, dropped really hard, if the barrel is hit very hard, there is a possibility that you're going to have some damage right in this area and right here. Now, they've done a good job of building this up. You can even see right here where this has been built up right here at the front of the receiver. But that could be a possible problem. One of the things, though, that's great about Windham Weaponry is that they have a lifetime guarantee on all their rifles. And not only that, it's a transferable guarantee. So if you buy the rifle secondhand, it's also guaranteed for your lifetime. So it's a great deal. In fact, it's one of the best in the industries. But one of the things, though, if you get one of these rifles, or if you come across one and you decide to change it, the great thing about it being mil spec is that you just replace the lower and the upper receivers and you're back to square one with a mil spec rifle. Okay, it has one magazine that's included, a sling, your owner's manual, a catalog, and just your sheet, and plus a really nice molded case. If your state doesn't allow for 30-round magazines, there are other options available, and they do make a California compliant AR-15 or the SCR. So there are a lot of different options according to where you are located and what restrictions you are under. So there are a lot of options for whatever state you live in. If you're under certain restrictions, Windham Weaponry has an AR-15 I think that'll fit you. Now the SRC's manufacturer suggested retail price is $958. But I saw a number of them online for around the $650 range, which is a great buy for an AR-15. Shooting 5.56 or 223, takes all your mil-spec magazines, all mil-spec parts except for your carbon fiber upper and lower. And so for that kind of price, and that's really part of the reason why that Windham Weaponry designed this rifle, is with price in mind. Also, without the sights, that actually helps with the price. So $650 or the $700 range, this is a great rifle to take out to the range, to have fun, even in a home defense situation. Now you can check out this and all the other different Windham Weaponry AR-15s and accessories on their website at windhamweaponry.com. And you know, it's a great American company standing up for freedom. I love Windham Weaponry and I've had a lot of experience with it. So check out the SRC Windham Weaponry carbine and the other fine rifles on the Windham Weaponry website. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. That nasty blue towel back there. It has the M4 fleet lips. It has fleet lips. Golly. Let's look at the fleet lips. You want some fleet lips? Let me give you some fleet lips. Has a nice Vortex flash suppressor. Flash suppressor. You want a flash suppressor? Has a Vortex flash suppressor. Good gosh. Flash suppressor. Has a Vortex flash suppressor. Yeah, try saying Windham Weaponry 3 times fast.